is going to be equals to the use state, and the initial value will be empty string. Okay, let's just create for the email one. So error email, and also set error email, and it's going to be equals to the use state, and the initial value will be empty string. Create for the error password, and then set error password, it's going to be equals to the use state, and the initial value will be empty string. Let's just create one more for the error confirm password, confirm. Yep, that's correct. We also have to use what set error confirm password right here, and it's going to be equals to the use state, and the initial value will be empty string. Okay, now underneath all of them, we're going to be also creating for the color. So I'll just provide like const user color, and then set user color is going to be equals to the use state, and the initial value will be empty string. Okay, let's create for the email color, and also set email color is going to be equals to the use state, and that initial value will be empty string. Let's create for the password color, and also set password color, and it's going to be equals to the use state and empty string. Let's just create for the final one, which will be a confirm password color, and it's going to be equals to set confirm password color. It's going to be equals to the use state, and the initial value will be empty string. Okay, that was a lot of states. Okay, so now let's just keep track of all of their states. But first of all, we have to build our UI, then we're going to be jumping into all of that stuff. So I'm going to just change that to like a React fragments, and inside these React fragments, we're going to be creating our div with the class name of card. Okay, so now inside this card, we're going to be creating our card image, and yeah, I guess that's going to be fine. Now underneath this card image, we're going to be creating our form, and we're not going to be providing any action today because we don't want to send our data to any server, and we're going to be using our input field. This input field will have the text and also the placeholder of name. Okay, so the style, I'll just provide like the style will be set to border color, and the border color will be equals to the user color, which we've already specified right in here. Okay, and for the value, I'm going to provide the username as the value, and I'm going to also provide the on change event handler when somebody change or types something inside there. So we're going to be using our set usernames. Come on, set username, and here we have to specify our event.target.value. So if I save my file and check this out, so here you can see we are now getting our image, and also we're getting this input field right here, which is looking amazing. So the next thing that I want to do is that I want to show my error if we have one error. Okay, so I'll just use my paragraph with the class of error, and here we're going to be using like error username. Okay, and now underneath there, we are going to be creating our input field. So I'll just create an input field with the type of text, and also the placeholder will say email, and we are going to be providing some sort of a style, and that style will say like a border color, and the border, come on, border color, and the border color will be equals to the email color. Okay, which we've already specified up above. And for the value, we are going to be passing an email as a value, and when somebody types something inside this, we are going to be getting this event, and also we are going to be using our set email event.target.value inside there, semi-file. So now here you can see we have our email field right here, and now underneath there, once again, we are going to be using our paragraph with the class of error, and let's just render our error email right here. We are going to be creating yet another input field, and that's going to be exactly the same thing, but in this case we are going to be providing a password, and we also have to change that to password, and this one to email right here. So for the style, I'm going to provide the style of the border color of, come on, border color, there we go, and the border color will be equals to the password color. And now we are going to be providing a value, and the value will be set to password. Okay, so when somebody types something inside there, we're going to be using our set password, and here we have to specify our event.target.value, semi-file, and here you can see we have our password field as well. And now underneath there, we're going to be once again rendering our error. So I'll create a paragraph with the class of error, and which will say like error password. And now underneath this paragraph, finally we are going to be creating an input field for the confirm password. So I'll just provide a password once again, and we are going to be providing a placeholder which will say like confirm password, and also the style will be equals to that border color once again. So I'll use like border color, so LOR, and the value will be a confirm password color would be fine. There we go. And also I'm going to provide the value of confirm password, and here we're going to be providing the on change event handler when somebody tried to change something. So we're going to be calling this function, which is like set confirm password, and provide our event.target.value inside there. Now underneath there we're going to be creating our paragraph with the class of errors once again, or just error, and here we are going to be rendering our error confirm password like so. Now underneath there we are going to be creating our button with the class of submit btn, and also we are going to be providing the on click event handler. When somebody try to click on this, we are going to be using our validate function, which we are going to be creating in a few seconds. So let's just create this validate function, and that's going to be here. I'm going to go to the top and create my validate function right here. Const validate is going to take the event, and inside there we are going to be using like event.prevent default. Come on, prevent prevent default like so, and provide our checks. So if we have like a username dot length is greater than add, so in this situation we're going to be using like set error username, and we're going to be setting that to empty string. And also for the set user color, we're going to be providing a green color to there. And if that's not the case, so in this situation we're going to be using like set error username, and for the error we're going to be specifying like username must be 8 letters long, or letters. And also for the set user color, we're going to be changing that to red. So if I save my file and check this out, so if I just like provide like 2 s's and click on that, it's going to give us like user must be, or username must be 8 letters long. Okay, so if I just provide like some random stuff and click on there, it's not going to give us that error, and now the line is set to green. Okay, that's cool. Now we also have to provide a validation for the email. So underneath there we're going to be checking like if email.includes this at gmail.com. So if that's the case, we're going to be using like set error email and set that to empty string, and also set email color will be set to totally green. But if that's not the case, in this situation we're going to be using like set email color, and we have to set that to totally red once again, and we have to use our set error email and change that to like email should be or should have at gmail.com, or yeah, at gmail would be fine. So if I save my file and if I just specify something, and here you can see we are now getting this error right here. So if I just use like at gmail.com or something, click on there, and now it's going to give us that green line right here. Now underneath there, the next thing that we have to do is that we have to also take care of the password. So I'll use like if password.length is greater than 8 characters, not a asterisk. So I'll use like set error password and change that to empty string, and also set password color and change that to totally green color. And if that's not the case, we're going to be using like set error password and provide like password should be 8 letters long. And underneath there we're going to be using like set password and change that to red. So if I save my file and if I only provide like 1 2 3, and now if I submit this, this error like password should be 8 letters long. So if I just specify something else, click on that, now it's going to give us the green. And now for the final validation, we're going to be checking the confirm password. So if our password is not equal to this empty string, so and password is equal to the confirm password, okay, so we're going to be using like set error confirm password, and we have to change that to empty string, and also we have to use our set confirm password color, and we have to change that to totally green. Okay, so now underneath there we are going to be also providing the else clause. If that's not the case, we are going to be using like set error confirm password. God damn it, set error confirm password. We have to provide this error like passwords didn't match. God damn it, we have to wrap that in double quotes like so, otherwise we are going to be getting an error. Change that, and we are going to be also using like set confirm password and provide our red color right here. So if I save my file, let me just refresh that, and if I just write like 1 2 3, and also if I just write like 2 2 2, click on that, it's going to give us an error. And now if I write like 1 2 3 and also 1 2 3 inside there, it's not going to give us any error for the last one, but it will give us error for this one because the password should be 8 characters. Okay, so yeah, this is how our validation will look like. So if I click on there, it's going to give us an error. And now if I specify like some sort of a name, like my own name, Hussein, or Hussein Web Dev rather, test@gmail.com, and then test 123, test 12345, and test 12345. It's going to give us a green lines right here. So yeah, that was our basic form validation in React.js. Hey guys, Hussein and welcome to YouTube channel. So in this video, we're going to be creating this project by just using React.js, which means like we're not going to be using any backend services like MongoDB, Mongoose, and Express.js and all of that kind of good stuff. But instead, we are going to be just building this project by just using React.js. So this is not a huge project to be honest, but we are going to be rendering a few components and we are going to be learning about how we can do a filtering in React.js. So like we can filter items through search, and we can also filter through these buttons right here, and also these what do we call it, custom radio buttons and all of that kind of stuff. So let me just show you what this project is all about. So let's suppose if I want to search for a specific product, like I don't know, I'm going to search for this one. So if I just type Nike, so I'm going to just write like Nike. So here you can see it will now uses all of the products right here which Nike has. So I'm going to just write space, and then I'm going to just write for Zoom, and here you can see it will now uses this specific product which I'm searching for. Okay, so I'm going to just clear that, and here you can see it will now uses their products once again. And now if I just click on this Nike, and here you can see it will now uses all of the products which Nike has. And now if I click on, and by the way, all of this data is totally random and they aren't specific to Nike and Adidas, and you can provide a specific products for them, but for me I just put a random images of shoes and sandals and stuff. Okay, so you will find a link in the description below. If you click on it, it will bring you to my GitHub repository and you can download all of the code, or you can download their db.js file, and then you can grab like all of that arrays of data. Okay, so if I just click on this Adidas, it will now give us all of the products of Adidas, and once again all of these products are totally random, like I don't even know the names of these. And here you can see we just specified the amount of stars they get, and also the reviews they get, and the previous price and the new price, and you can change that however you want. And I'm going to also show you how you can provide that functionality in this app as well. If you click on the vans, so it will now use us all of the product which these vans have. Okay, so this is the second filtering, this is the first one, this is the second filtering. Let me just click on this all products right here, and here you can see it will now give us all of the products. If you click on this all one more time, so here you can see it will now give us all of these products. If you click on the sneakers, and here you can see it will just give us their sneakers. If you click on the flats, it will give us flats. If you click on the sandals and it will give us these shoes, they aren't sandals. As I said, like all of the data is totally random, but you can specify like different kind of images for the sandals, and I'm going to also show you how you can do that. If you click on the heels, so here you can see it will now give us heels, and you can also filter through different kind of prices. Like if I click on this all, it will now give us all of these products which these prices, like random prices we have. If you click on from 0 through 50, it will give us all of their products which has this 50 what do we call it, 50 price right here. Let me click on 50 through 100, it will now give us all of the products which are 50 through 100, and we have 150, and we also have over 150. So here you can see the prices, and you can also change that however you want. Alright, so that's that. Now you can also filter through the colors if you want to. So I'm going to just click on all, and here you can see it will now give us all of the colors. But if I want to just get the black color, I'm going to just click on black, and here you can see it will now give us all of these black color, and I mistakenly put this one right here inside a black color as well. But anyways, that's also awesome. You can also change that if you want to. And now I'm going to click on a blue, it will now just give us blue products. And now if you click on a red, it will just give us red products right here. If you click on green, it will just give us these green products right here. And finally, if you click on a white, so here you can see it will now give us all of the white products right here. I'm going to click on this all products one more time, it will now give us all of these products right here. And so this will be a good build, and this project will help you master different kind of techniques in React.js, like different kind of ways to filter through our data using just React.js. So we are not going to be using any Redux toolkit and all of that kind of stuff, but we are going to be just using React.js and also React icons for these icons. And we are not going to be also using any Bootstrap, React Bootstrap, and also we are not going to be using what do we call it, Tailwind CSS and all of that kind of stuff. For styling, I'm going to be using CSS, just a pure CSS if you don't want to write it. So you can also get all of the styling from my GitHub repository. And by the way, all of the code will be available in the description below. You just have to click on that link, which will bring you to my GitHub repository, and there you can just search through different commits, or you can also get all of the code if you want, or if you want to follow along with this video, feel free to do that. Go back first of all, and I'm gonna just write code, and then I'm going to just write advanced filtering, and now I'm gonna hit enter. So here you can see it will now open this project right here inside this window right here. Okay, so I'm gonna just zoom in a bit so that you guys can see everything a bit better, and I'm gonna just hide that up above from there. All right, so here you can see my sidebar is right here. If that annoys you, so you can just, I don't know, you can just right click on it and send it right here. Or I'm gonna just stick with this setup right here, because for a lot of developers that would be preferred way to go. And what I will do is that I'm gonna just remove this app.css file, and also this index.css, and not this index.js file, but just this logo SVGs and all of that kind of bad stuff. Not bad stuff, to be honest. So now I'm gonna just go inside, and I'm going to remove this JSX from here, and I'm gonna just write h1. Let me just write h1 right here of hello world right here. Okay, and I'm gonna also remove this logo from up above, and also this app.js or app.css file. I'm going to remove the web vitals from here, and also the React strict mode as well. Remove this one and also this one. Now I'm going to save my file, and now what I will do is that I'm going to close this one out, and I'm going to just write npm start to start my project right here. Okay, so I'm going to just wait for it to start my project. It will not. Okay, would you like to run the app in another port? Okay, we've already opened this one, so I'm going to just close that in a few seconds. So I'm going to just close that in a second, and then I'll come back. Now let me just close that, hit Ctrl+C. Now I'm going to just use npm start, so it will now just start this project right here inside this window. And what we are seeing is this hello world right here, which we've wrote inside this app.js file right here. Okay, I'm going to just close this one right here from here. Alright, so that's that. The first thing which I would do is that I'm going to create a folder right here, and I'm going to just give a name of like db, and inside this db folder I'm going to just create a new file. I'm going to give a name of like data.js, and inside this data.js file I'm going to grab a lot of things. So I'm going to just grab that, and I'm going to show you where you can find that. Here you can see I have all of this data right here inside this project, and you can find all of this data in my GitHub repository. So it's not much, but here you can see we are just getting this data array, and inside this data array we have just a few objects right here, and we are storing the image property, and we are just specifying different kind of images to it, and we are also providing a title for a specific product, and we have a star, which is just an icon which we are going to be installing right here, and I just provide a class of like rating star. And here you can also see we have reviews, and I just provide like 1 2 3. You can provide how many you want. Then we have a previous price, and the previous price is this one, or used to be this one, and the new price is $200 or something like that. And we have a different kind of companies like Nike, and we have I don't know, different kind of companies like Vans and Puma and stuff like that. And then we have different kind of colors, and also different kind of categories like sneakers and heels, and I don't know, there was a lot of them. So what I'll do is that I'm going to copy all of that content, and I'm going to place it inside this project right here. So I'm going to just save this file, and this is a lot of items right here, and you can specify more if you want to. And now I'm going to just cut this data.js file right here, and I'm going to close this db. And what else do we have to do? The first thing I would do is that I'm going to just create a components folder where we are going to be storing just or custom components. You will see that just in a second. So I'm going to just write components. There we go. And we are going to be creating a few components right here. So I'm going to just write button.js, and I'm going to also create a new component. I'm going to give a name of like card.js. Then we have another one which is input, uppercase input.js. There we go. And I'm also using this extension called, let me just open that extension, this ES7 and React and Redux. So let me just click on that, and I'm also using this extension if you guys don't know about that. So feel free to check on my React.js course, or you can just quick Google search like what is that extension I was talking about. So now I'm going to just close that, and I'm going to also place this import statement right here, and let me just import it right here. So let me just zoom in a bit so you guys can see everything a bit better. I'm going to use RFC and I'm going to just cut that. I just like it that way. If you want to put it right here like this import statement right here, so feel free to do that, but in my case I just kind of want to work with this kind of structure, so I like this structure. I prefer this structure, and yeah, you can choose like export statement just in one liner, but in my case I'm going to be using like this. And now I'm going to just write like RFC, and I'm going to remove that. Let me just copy it, and I'm going to place this input right here at the bottom. So now we successfully created this card component, input component, and that button component, but we are not going to be using it right now. So say bye-bye to this components folder right here. So now the next thing which we are going to be creating is that we are going to be creating a navigation section, then we are going to be creating a product section, then recommended, and inside there, or not inside, but we are going to be also creating a sidebar. So let me just create a new folder. I'm going to give a name of like navigation. There we go. And now inside this navigation, I'm going to first of all create a nav.js component, and I'm going to also write like a nav.css right here as well. Okay, so I'll just write like RA or RFCE, and I'm going to remove them, and I'm going to just write my navigation right here. Okay, and I'm going to also import my CSS inside this file one more time as well. So I'll just go one level and then nav.css. So we're going to be placing all of our CSS inside here. So what I will do is that I'm going to render this component to the browser. So I'm going to just use it right here, remove that, and I'm going to just write a nav right here, hit enter, and it will now grab this nav from the navigation component right here. And I'm going to also change the name of it to like navigation. There we go. I'm going to hit enter right here, and I'm going to close it manually. So now if you save our file, so here you can see we are now just getting nav right here. Okay, so everything is working the way we expect them to work, and yeah, that's cool. But what else do we have to do? We have to create another component or another folder for products. So I'm going to just write products. Inside this products, I'm going to create two files. The first one will be just products.js, and the second one will be products.css. So the same things will apply right here as well. Remove them. I'm going to cut this component, export products. There we go. And now I'm going to also import this what do we call it, products, not this one, but products.css. There we go. Okay, so that's also cool. But now what I'll do is that I'm going to use my React fragments, because I'm going to be rendering a lot of components right here, and I'm going to just use products. Okay, and it will just import it by default if you're using a Visual Studio Coder. So that's going to be awesome. So here you can see we have navigation and products, and you probably know all of these stuff. And I'm going to close this one as well. Now let me just create one more, which will be recommended. So recommended, there we go, RECOMMENDED, there we go. I'm going to copy this one name because it's kind of a long name to type. So we have recommended.js and we have recommended.css file. So I'll just write RFC, remove that, copy it, and then we have recommended, there we go. I'm going to also get my import statement of let me just copy this name. It's kind of a long name to type, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna just write recommended.css, and also let me just grab it from not React DOM, but recommend RECOMMENDED. Okay, it's not helping me in this case, so I'm gonna have to import it. Import recommend. There we go. Recommended. Come on. From go up level and recommended, and we have recommended. So I'm going to save my file, and here you can see we have this recommended right here. Anyway, so that's cool. I don't know why I just closed this file. But now let me just create a sidebar, and inside that sidebar we are going to be creating different kind of folders. So I'm going to just write sidebar, and inside this sidebar I'm going to be creating different kind of folders. Inside that folders we are going to be having different kind of categories of components. So I'm going to just write category, and inside this category I'm going to just write category.css, or not just css, js would be fine. I'm going to copy them, and we are going to be also creating category.css as well. So I will just write RFC, remove that, and come on, cut that, and category. And yep, let me just grab my category.css. There we go. Save my file, remove both of them. And now inside this sidebar folder, I'm going to be creating one more folder, and I'm going to just give a name of like colors, uppercase colors, there we go. And inside this colors folder, what I will do is that I'm going to be creating two folders, or one component, and one will be for styling, like colors.js, and we have another colors.css. Is that color? Yeah, I write a colors, there we go. So cool. Anyway, so I'm going to just remove that statement, copy it, and then we have colors. Okay, it's kind of a little bit challenging for typing and talking, so sometimes it's kind of challenging. So I'm going to just save my file, remove both of them. Okay, so let me just save that file. Let me just create one more folder inside there, and I'm going to give a name of like price, and inside this price I'm going to just give a name of like price.js, price.css. there we go. And now let me just write RFC, remove that, and let me just cut it from here, give a name of price. Let me just import my let's just go one level up above, price.css. there we go. And now let's just remove that, and now here you can see our folder structure is now totally complete. Inside this navigation section, first of all, I'm going to start from JSX. So I'll just write navigation as the navigation tag, and inside this navigation I'm going to just write a div with a class of nav container, because we are going to be placing our input inside their container, and as a type will be set to text. We are going to be changing that, and we are going to be also taking care of that on change event handler and stuff later on. But in this section, enter your search shoes will be fine. All right, that's cool. But I'm gonna also give a class of something like, to style it, I'm gonna just give a class name of like search item, or search input would be fine rather. Okay, so that's going to be for this div, and inside this div we just put our input tag right here. And now underneath this div, what we have to do is that we have to create another one, so which will be a profile container. So this is kind of a useless one, but hey, we are going to be also putting it. And I forgot to install React icons. Here we are going to be using icons, so I'll just create a new terminal. I'm going to open new terminal, and I'm going to just use npm install. If you guys can see it, npm, oh, come on man. What I will do is that, let me just go back so you guys can see it. I'm gonna just drag it right here and say bye-bye to this one. Now let me just zoom in a bit. So I'm gonna just install it by using this PowerShell. I'm gonna use npm install react icons. Okay, hit enter, so it will just install in a few seconds. Alright, so here you can see we successfully installed this React icons. So I'm going to just close this PowerShell. And now the first thing that you have to do is that we are going to be grabbing a few fonts. So I'll just grab like FI and then heart. And I'm going to just import it first of all as FI heart, kind of an awful name, from React icons. And we are going to be grabbing this one from FI. And we would also need to import these fonts, which is AI, a lowercase I, and then we have outline, and then we have shopping cart, and then we have AI outline user add. Okay, so I'm gonna just grab that from React icons and go to AI. So I'm gonna save my file, and now I'm gonna use it right here. So here you can see we have this first anchor tag right here. I'm gonna use it right here. So we have FI heart. Okay, I'm gonna just use that, and I'm gonna close it. Not like that, but just let me write a /, and here what I will do is that I'm gonna just give a class of nav and also icons as well. And now let me just save that. Underneath this anchor tag, I'm going to create one more anchor tag, and it will go to nowhere. And inside there, what I will do is that I'm going to use my AI outline user edit, or whatever kind of font you have. Okay, so now I'm going to add that. I'm going to just write, I guess this shouldn't be a user add, but it should have to be a shopping cart. There we go. And I'm going to also provide a class to it like nav icons. Okay, so I'm going to just duplicate that. And now I'm going to change this icon name to AI outline user edit. There we go. Okay, so it will go to nowhere. I'm gonna just provide a / right here, and I'm gonna save my file. And what are we getting? Okay, AI outline shopping cart is not defined. Let's go to the React icons. Alright, so here you can see we have this React icons right here. I'm gonna just search for a shopping cart. There we go. And now let me just grab that, and I'm going to put it right here. Okay, so the name was totally awful. And the second one we have is I don't know, outline user edit or something like that. I guess this one will be fine, so I'm going to just click on him and I'm going to place it right here, save my file. And now let me check out, and we have, okay, so I'm just meta type, I'm going to copy it from there and I'm going to place it right here, save my file. And here you can see we are now getting these icons and we have this input box right here. Alright, so now let me just provide a little bit of styling to it. So I'm going to just close this one, and inside this src, what I will do is that I'm going to just create index.css file for just a resets. So what I'll do is that I'm going to just provide a different kind of resets. You can fast forward if you want to. So I'm going to just provide margin, box sizing will be set to totally border box, font family will be set to sans serif, and we are going to be selecting all of our anchor tags, and text decoration will be now set to none, and color I'm going to just pass like RGB of 0, not 0 but 97. If I can get 97, I'm going to copy that, place it 2 times. So I'm going to remove that comma from the bottom, and now I'm going to select every li which we have inside this app, and I'm going to just remove them. Like the list style will be just removed, and then I'm going to be creating this buttons class for later buttons once we are going to be jumping into the buttons. So we are going to be using this class, and that would be magic. So I'm going to just provide a background of transparent, and then we have a border. I'm going to set that to none, and border 0.6 pixels solid and totally CCC, just a lighter border. And I'm going to also provide a border radius, not this one but border radius will be now set to 5 pixel, and then we have a color of 33232 one more time. Okay, so this is going to be the color, and cursor will be a pointer. We are not going to be using this buttons, not right now. And then we have to go to in this nav.css file. Let me just highlight this. So I'm going to just go inside this nav.css file. I'm going to click on them, and I'm going to just start from the navigation. First of all, I'm going to be selecting this navigation container right here. Okay, so I'm going to just select that, and I'm going to provide display of totally flex, and border for the, not border radius but border for the bottom, I'm going to provide 2 pixel of solid f3 f3 f3. So this is going to be the color which I'm going to be providing. Justify content will be now set to space, space around was totally fine, and align items was totally set to center. And I'm going to also provide a little bit of padding all around, and then we have a z index of 999 because we are going to be using a display of, what do we call it, display of flex. So now let me just write margin of 2 pixel, and now let me just save that. And here you can see we are now just getting these icons right here, and we are just getting this input box. So now let me just go back, and 100 would be fine. Okay, so you can increase or decrease that if you want to, but in my case that's going to be totally fine. Now let me get all of the inputs which we currently have. Let me just remove this one from here, and I'm going to provide a padding of 12 pixel would be fine, and then 20 pixel. And border, I'm going to remove all of the borders from here, and then we have a background of this f7 f6 f6 one more time. Okay, so then we have the outline of none, and then we have a margin for the right of 20 pixel, and border a radius I'm going to provide is like 5 pixel will be fine, and position will be set to totally relative, and width will be 14 pixel will be kind of awful voice I just made. 14 go back. All right, so that's cool. And now let me just get my nav icons, which are all of these icons which we provide these classes to it. You probably noticed that, but I don't know why I showed that. 1.5 for rem, and then height will be 1.5 for rem, and we have a margin for the left, and it will be now set to 2 rem. So if you save our file, and that's looking more than awesome. Here you can see we have our input search field, and then we have this, I don't know why we didn't specify color to it. We have to provide some sort of a color to it. Input, and I forgot to include some sort of a color to this. Anyways, we will change that later. We don't have to worry about that. Oh yeah, we can change it right away. Not input, but icons. Let me just change the color of them to, I don't know. Yep, that's looking, yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. So this is our first navigation section. So that was it about this navigation section. So the next thing which we have to do is that we have to jump into this product section, and this product section will be responsible for all of the products where we are going to be rendering all of our products inside the cards and stuff. So later we are going to be creating a component for cards, but for this case we are going to be just rendering a few items. So I'm going to just write a section right here, and I'm going to just give a class of like card container, CONTAINER. Sometimes I made a lot of mistakes, so that's why I'm just double checking these spellings. Alright, so that's the card section. So the next thing which you have to do is that we have to create a section for a card. So now inside this card section we have to render our image. So for this case I'm going to go to my database right here. My database, my DB file. So I'm going to just copy this image from here, and I'm going to just place that image right here. As alternative text I'm going to just write like shoe. And now underneath that, what do we have to do? We also have to create a component, or not a component but card details section. And now inside this card details section I'm going to just write h3 of the card title. I'm going to also give a class of like card title, and now I'll just put some sort of a title like, I don't know, shoe. And now underneath that I'm going to also provide different kind of section, not different kinds of section, but just a section with the class of card reviews, REVIEWS. There we go. And now inside this card's reviews, what do we have to do? We have to get our star. So I'm going to just click here, and I'm going to just write star. Okay, so let me just get this one. I guess this one would be fine. Okay, I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to just place it right here, and like so. And now what do we have to do? We have to also grab it from our React components. So not React component, but from React icons. So I'm going to just write from, and then React icons, and now I'm going to go to the AI. Okay, so now if you save our file, here you can see we are now getting our shoe, we are getting the title, and we are also getting our star. But we would need 4 star for this one. So 1 2 3 4. And now if you save that, here you can see we are now getting 4 stars right here. Okay, so that's cool as well. And I'm going to also provide a span of total reviews. So I'll just give a name of like, not name, but class of total reviews. And now I'm going to just put like, I don't know, 5 reviews or 4 reviews would be fine. Okay, so underneath this section, what we have to do, we have to create a new section with the class of card and then price. And now inside this card price we have to put our price right here. Okay, and now inside this price we are going to be writing our del, and we are going to be rendering some like different kind of price, like I don't know, $300 would be $300 would be fine. So that price is deprecated. Now we have to add a new price. So I'm gonna just add new price of like $200 or something like that. And let me just put a dollars. Oh, you know, we're not gonna be adding any dollar sign and stuff like that. Now let me just get my bag. So I'm gonna just write bag, and now we have to just search for a bag, which is, I guess this bag would be fine. So I'm gonna, oh, you know, like this one would be fine. Copy that. I'm gonna paste it right here, like React component less than, come on, less, oh my goodness, less than sign. And now we have to grab it from a React icons. Okay, so I'll just write import and then get this from React icons /bs. So now if you save our file, and now let me just refresh my browser to render that component. So here you can see this was a previous price, this is a new price, we have 4 reviews, and we have this bag right here. So now it's time to style this component, and then yeah, that's going to be it for style. So that's going to be it. So I'm going to just go inside this product start CSS, and I'm going to first of all select my car container. Okay, so I'll just write display of flex wrap will be now set to wrap, margin for the left will be now set to 20 rem, and now I'm going to also provide a margin for the top of 2 rem, and also the z index will be now set to -2 right here. I'm going to also select my card. I'm going to provide a margin of 20 pixel, and border will be now set, not just, come on, what the hell, border will be now, come on, border will be now set to 2 pixel, solid ed. Okay, and I'm going to also provide a padding of 20 pixel, and cursor will be pointer, and also I'm going to just select my card image. Okay, so did I provide a card image name to it? I didn't. So let me just provide a card image. So I'm going to save this file. I'm going to also save this, oh, you know what, I'm not going to save this file right now. I'm going to provide a width of 13 rems, and I'm going to also provide a margin for the bottom of 1 rem. There we go, that's cool. And I'm going to also select my card title, and the margin for the bottom I'm going to just provide 1 rem as well. And now underneath that, I'm going to select my car reviews. There we go. REVIEWS. Let me just double check. Sometime I made a lot of typos, so that's why I'm double checking it. So I'm going to just provide a margin for the bottom, like 1 rem would be fine. And I'm going to also provide a display of totally flex. And underneath that, I'm going to be selecting my rating star, which I forgot to include. But we will provide different kind of colors to it. So like yellow color will be fine, D5A, B55. This is going to be the color which I'm going to be using for a star. I'm going to copy this class from here, and I forgot to include it right here because we are going to be putting all of these icons inside our data file. We already have that, but we will take care of that later in the refactored section. So now let me just remove the stuff from here like so, and we just provide this classes to it. Yep, that's cool. Save my file, and now I'm going to refresh it, and I don't know why it's not working. That's because we didn't import it correctly, I guess. We did import it, but I don't know what's going on. Let's just refresh our browser. Why it's not working. Yep, that's because we didn't save this file, so we have to save it. And here you can see we have our recommended shoe, and we have this card right here. Okay, so now that's cool. We have these yellow colors, and we take care of all of them. Now let me just take care of their total reviews, which is this total reviews. Where is that total reviews? All right, there we go. So we are going to be taking care of that, and I'm going to just provide a font size of 0.9 rems to it, and I'm going to also provide a margin for the left of 10 pixel. Okay, so then I'm going to just write card price, and display will be totally flex, and justify content will be now set to space around, and align items will be now set to center. Okay, so finally we have to take care of this bag, not this bag, but we have to take care of, let me just provide a class of bag icon, or icon, just a singular. I'm going to save this file, and we have to get that icon right here, and we just have to provide a color of 535353. So if you save our file, let me just save it, and here you can see this is how our component will look like right here. So we can duplicate that component again and again. So let me just go back so you guys can see everything a bit better. I'm going to just select this section right here, and I'm going to just provide a little bit of items to it. So I'm going to just duplicate that. You don't have to do that, but here you can see all of my items will be placed right here. Let me just select all of these items through here. I just kind of wanted to show you like how all of my items will look like. Duplicate that, and now let me just refresh my browser, and here you can see this is how all of my products will look like right here. Okay, and everything is working like the way we expect them to work. Everything is a-okay. But now we have to refactor. We are not going to be refactoring our code, not right now, but we will refactor all of our code later. But I just kind of want to render some items so that we can see something first of all. And yeah, that's going to be it for this section. And once again, we are going to be refactoring all of these code at the end of this video, not at the end, but just in a few seconds. But we have to take care of the other stuff, but we cannot work with them all at once. We'll have to take care of them one by one. So we are going to be removing all of these JSX from here, and we are going to be just providing a results, just a results variable, and that's going to be it, I promise. We are going to be removing all of these JSX from here. Anyway, so that's a product section. Alrighty, so that was a product section. So I'm going to just close both of them from here, and I'm going to go to my recommended. So I'm going to just open my recommended.js and also this CSS right here. So what I would do is that I'm going to just remove this recommended section from here, and let me just zoom in a bit so you guys can see everything a bit better. And what I would do is that I'm going to first of all using my React fragments, and then I'm going to be using my div right here, and then I'll just put some sort of a title to it like h2 of recommended. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna place it right here, and underneath this h2 what I'll do is that I'm going to use my recommended buttons right here. Okay, and now inside there we are going to be placing a few buttons. So I'll just write button, and we are not going to be providing any stuff, or you know what, I'm going to just give a label like all products. Okay, so we have all products, then we have Nike, Adidas, and Puma. I'm going to remove them. I'm going to provide Nike or Nike. Some people call it Nike, and some people call it Nike, whatever. Then we have a Puma, and then we have a Vans. There we go. I'm going to also provide different kind of class, not different, but we are going to be providing a class to it, and the class will be just buttons right here. So if you save our file, and you will not see that, I don't know why you will not see it. Let me just refresh my browser, and you have to see that somewhere. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe you messed it up something, I bet. And yep, we did. Okay, we are getting that recommended section right here at the bottom, but we should have provided it right here. I'm gonna go to my app, and then what I'll do is that I'm going to just place this recommended section up above this product section or component. So I'm going to save my file, and here you can see we are now getting all of these buttons right here, and also this title right here as well. So now the next thing that you have to do is that we have to take care of the styling. So what I will do is that I'm going to just select my recommended, RECOMMENDED, and then we are going to be providing recommended flex and display of flex, and I'm going to also provide a margin to the left of like 20 rems, and also I'll just select my recommended title, and also I'm going to provide a margin for the left of like 20 rems, and margin for the bottom I'm going to provide 20 pixel will be fine, and I'm going to also provide a margin for the top of 20 pixel, and font size will be now set to 20 pixel as well. So if you save our file, refresh it, nothing is going to happen because we didn't use these clauses. So I'll just copy this class name, which is recommended flex, and I'm going to just place it right here inside, or you know what, not inside but inside these items. So we just provide recommended buttons. I don't know why I did that. I don't have any idea why I did that, but it should have to be a recommended flex. So now if you save that, and here you can see it will now just push all of our items right here. And what else do we have to do is that we have to also provide a recommended title right here. So I'll just provide a class of recommended title. So if you save our file, and here you can see it will also push this title right here, but that's not looking that cool. Let me just go inside this index.css file right here, and I'm going to just scroll down, and I don't know why that didn't apply, so I'm going to just cut this styling from here, and I'm going to just place it right here. So I'm going to just save my file, and here you can see this is how my buttons look like, and we can also change this font family if you want to. So I'll just go to my font, index.css, and I'm going to just select everything. We did provide font family of sans serif, but I don't know why it's not working. You know, I'm going to just close it from here, and I'm going to provide it right here. So I'll just provide font family of sans serif right here, save my file, and let's just refresh it. Okay, I just put it in the wrong way. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to place it right here. So font family of sans serif, and that's looking cool. And here you can see we have our buttons, we have our search fields, and we have a few items right here. Alright, so that was it about recommended section. So now the next thing which you have to do is that inside this sidebar, I'm going to be creating one component given name of like sidebar.js. I'm going to be also writing a sidebar.css file as well right here. Okay, so inside this component, inside this folder, but outside from this category, color, and price components right here. So I'll just also write a RFC, remove them, and I'm going to just cut it from here, and then let me just grab my sidebar right here. I'm going to zoom in a bit, and now I'm going to go, first of all, let me also get my import statement from here, like sidebar.css, and now I'm going to go inside this sidebar, this app right here, and we have to use it right here. And I'm going to be placing it at the top, so I'll just give a name of like sidebar. And now I'm going to save my file. I am going to go inside here, and here you can see we have this sidebar right here. Okay, so we are going to be placing all of our content right here. So what else do we have to do? You know what, first of all, I'm going to be writing my kind of forgot the name of this one. What do we call it? Okay, fragments. There we go. I forgot the name of it. Now let me just create a section. I'm going to give a name of like sidebar. And now inside this sidebar, I'm going to be creating a div with a class of logo container. And here we are going to be just running h1, and I'm going to just place like cart logo or something like that. I'm going to place it right here, and that's going to be fine. Underneath this div, I'm going to be creating, or you know what, let me just get my category. category. If you can get, we can't, so we have to import it manually. So I'm going to just go and category. Come on, it's not helping me in this case. I don't know why, but let's go inside this category, and then category. I'm going to copy that, copy this category. And what else do we have to do? We have to just place it right here. So we have our category. I'm going to duplicate that 3 times, just 2 times, not 3 times. And I'm going to change that to price. And then we have to change that to price, and we have to go to the price. I'm going to change that to colors, and I'm going to remove them. And let me just put my colors, and inside these colors we are going to be just providing that color. So I'll just copy this price from here, and I'm going to just place it right in here. And I'm going to also copy these colors, and I'm going to paste it right here. So I'm going to just zoom out so you guys can see everything a bit better. So now if you save it, here you can see we are now getting category. We are also getting a price component and also our colors component right here. And here we are also getting our logos. So now the next thing which you have to do is that we have to style our component. So that's cool. I'm gonna go inside this sidebar and I'm gonna just style it. So I'll just write sidebar dash title, zoom in a bit, and I'm going to just provide a font size of 22 pixel, and I'm going to also provide a font weight of normal, and margin for the bottom I'm going to just provide like 20 pixel. Okay, so then I'm going to be selecting my sidebar, and I'm going to just provide a 15% of width to it. You can just specify however you want, and then I'm going to just provide a position of fixed to it. Height will be 100%, and then we have a border to the right. We have 2 pixel solid, and we are going to be reusing E5, E5, E5 one more time. Okay, so the Z index I'm going to just provide 3 to it, and display will be set to totally flex in this case, and flex direction will be now set to column, and align items will be also set to center. Okay, so that's that. Now if you save our file, and this is how it looks like right here. This is how currently stuff looks like, but we have to put this underneath. So we have to now select our logo container, and we have to put our margin for the bottom. We are going to be just writing 4 rem, and also we have to select our logo container one more time and select our h1, and margin for the top I'm going to provide 1.3 rems to it. So if you save our file, and that's looking totally awesome right here. So here you can see we are almost getting there. We have our what do we call navigation, we have this component, we have all of our products right here, and then we have all of our categories, price and colors right here. So now we have to take care of each of these components one by one. So now we are totally done with that. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to take care of this category component. So I'm going to go inside this category component, and what I will do is that first of all, I'm going to just remove this category from there, and I'm going to just write h2 with the class of sidebar title right here, and I'm going to just provide category, and I'm going to go back so that you guys can see everything a bit better. Inside this div we are going to be writing a label right here, and I'm going to also provide a sidebar label container class to it. Okay, so we are not going to be providing any HTML4 attributes to it. Inside this level, what do we have to do? We have to just write input with the type of radio instead of text, and we also have to give them some sort of a name of like test would be fine. Yeah, that's going to be fine. And then we have to finally write or a class, like span with a class of check mark. There we go, and we have to specify a label for it. So if you just save our file, and here you can see we are now getting this one what do we call it, checkbox or check mark right here. We're specifying that, oh, but we are not getting it. Okay, we are getting it right here, but we have to take care of the styling. But before we getting into all of that, we have to duplicate this JSX right here, and once again I'm going to be refactoring all of the JSX into multiple components, but for now I'm just writing all of these JSX so that we can see our markup right here. Okay, we're going to be also formatting, like refactoring all of this code again and again. So I'll just duplicate that, I don't know, like 3 times, not 3 times but 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and now I'm gonna just change these labels to something else, like I don't know, we have all, then we have our sneakers, SNEAKERS, there we go. And then we have, instead of sneakers, instead of all, we are going to be also providing flats. And then we have a sandals, so sandals, there we go. And then finally we have our heels, so heels, save our file. And yep, that's looking totally a-okay. So for now I am going to be writing a lot of CSS right here, but if you don't want to write a CSS, so you can just go to my GitHub repository and you can grab all of these CSS from there if you want to. So the first thing which I would do is that I'm going to be selecting my sidebar, and then sidebar title, and I'm going to be providing a font size of 22 pixel, and font weight will be totally normal, and margin for the bottom I'm going to just provide 20 pixel right here, and then I'll just provide my sidebar items right here. And I don't know what the hell I just did. I'm going to close that, and now inside there I'm going to be providing a margin for a top of 20 pixel, and now I'll just go up a little bit down, and sidebar label container. Inside there we are going to be writing display of poly block, and we have position of relative because the other one was a fix, and then we have padding for left, and I'm going to just provide 35 pixel for the padding left. Margin for the bottom I'm going to provide 12 pixel, and then we have cursor and set to pointer. Then we have just one webcat user, what do we call it, select, there we go, and we're going to be set that to none. Then we have Moz for Mozilla, and user select will be now set to totally none. Okay, we want to just remove that. Then we have MS user, and then select, we are going to be also removing that, and finally we are going to be writing a user select, and that will be set to totally none. Save our file. We are totally getting there, but that will take a little bit of for a while or something. That will take a little bit of a while, so I'll just write a sidebar and then label container one more time, and I'm going to be selecting my input field. I'm going to be providing a position of totally absolute, opacity of 0, cursor will be set to totally pointer. And now let me get my check mark, which is, I guess, check mark. Was there a check mark or something? Check mark, there we go. I'm going to place it right here for double checking. Position or totally absolute, top 0, left 0, height will be 20 pixel, width will be 20 pixel, and also the background color will be set to totally EEE, 3 times E. And border radius will be set to 50%. There we go. And we are going to be also taking care of that sidebar label container, and once we hover over each the input, we want to select or check mark. Okay, so then we are going to be also writing a background color of totally CCC. That's fine. Duplicate that, and what we are going to be doing is that once we checked, instead of hover, I'm going to remove this hover from here, and I'm going to just provide this checked on the input. So once we checked our checkbox, so we want to just change the color to 219, what do we call it, 96 F3, kind of a blue color but not that much blue, and we're going to be saving them. And here you can see this is how currently things looks like right here. So if you click on it, and yep, that's looking totally a-okay. I'm gonna just go back, and now let me just select my check mark one more time, and I'm going to be using my After Studio selectors. So content, nothing, position, absolute, and we have a display, and let's just remove them. Okay, and now I'm going to just use sidebar items, not sidebar items, but label container. I'm going to be selecting my check mark. Let me just get my check if that's checked. So what do you want to do? You want to select our check mark, and we want to use our after selector on it, and we want to just provide a display of totally block to it. In this case, in this after case, we provide a check mark of display of none. And here we are just specifying, I mean, like once that's checked, like that input is checked, so we want to just provide display of block to it. If you save our file, I'm going to click on it. You cannot see that, you will see that just in a second, but let me just get it. Sidebar label container, let me just get that. Let me get my check mark, and I'm going to be using my after selector right here. The top will be set to like here I'm specifying different kind of widths. You can increase or decrease that how you want. 6 point, what do we call it, 6.4 pixel, and then we have a width of 7 pixel, height of totally 7 pixel, and then we have a border radius of 50%. Just a totally rounded, so that's why we are providing that. And now if you save our file, and here you can see we are now getting that white circle right here. So if you click on it, and that's looking more than okay. Okay, so that's fine, but the final thing which you have to do is that we have to get this line right here from somewhere. So we are going to be just writing a line. We are not going to be using this line right now, so I'm going to just provide 3 rems, and border color will be now set to just like F7, come on, F7, there we go. And yeah, that's totally fine. Server file, nothing is going to be changed. Alright, so that was totally cool. We are totally getting there, but the second thing which you have to do is that we have to take care of that price component and color component, and then we are going to be refactoring all of our project, and finally we are going to be providing our functionality to this project. Alright, so that's that. Now let me just take care of their price, and then we are going to be taking care of their colors. So it's not going to be looking that awful. We are going to be going into these colors, we are going to be taking care of their colors a little bit later. Or yeah, can we take a color? I don't know, I'm gonna go with this price, and price will be fine. Now I'm going to remove this price from there, and I'm going to just provide a class name of ML to it. Okay, for margin left, or yeah, margin left will be fine. And then we have h2 of that same title, sidebar and title, and then we have a price title as well, because we are going to be just providing a little bit of styling to their price title. And now I'm gonna go inside there, and I'm going to copy a little bit of code from it. So I'll just copy this label from here, and I'm gonna place it right here. So this is going to be for one time, and then I'm gonna just duplicate this label, what do we call it, JSX, a few times. So we have for all, then we have for $50, we have for 100, 150, and we have a 200. Okay, so I'll just provide a test of, like, I don't know, test of 2. So I'm going to just select one, hit Control D, Control D, Control D, or Command D, whatever, and I'm going to change the label, to a name, to totally test 2. And here this one will be set to all, and now this one will be now set to 0. I'm going to just provide $0-$50. Okay, so just $50 will be fine, and I'm going to copy their pattern, and I'm going to just duplicate it right here, and I'm going to just change the values to like $100. 100 will be fine, and this one will be now set to $50. Okay, and this one will be now set to $100, $1,000, and this one will be $150, and this one will be finally over $150. So save our file, and here you can see we are now getting all of these prices right here, totally fine. But I'm gonna go inside this ML, this price styling, and I'm gonna just select my price title like so, and I'm gonna provide a margin for the top of 20 pixel, and I'm gonna also provide, I'm gonna select the ML, and I'm going to provide a margin for left of 20 pixels. Save our file, and that's looking a bit better. Alright, so that's also done. So now the next thing which you have to take care of, this color component. So I'll just close these files from here. I'm gonna go into my color component. I'm gonna select my color.css file as well, and I'm going to do that same copying and pasting one more time. And once again, I'm going to be refactoring all of that code from scratch. So here I'm going to remove these colors from here, and then what I'll do is that I'm going to just pass all of these JSX right here. Okay, so we have that same label. I'm going to change this all. The first one will be all. Yep, the first one will be all. The second one will be black color. Let me just remove these labels. Oh, we can't do that. So this one will be now set to black, and this one will be now set to blue. Then we have a red category like so, and then finally we have our white categories. We have white, but we also have a green one as well. So let me just write green, and then finally we have white. Save our file, and let's just see here. You can see we have all category: black, blue, red, green, and white finally. And here I'm going to be also passing my color title. So we have a color title right here. Save my file, and now I'm going to go inside this color title right here. I'm going to select this color title, and I'm going to just provide a margin for the top of 2 rems, and I'm going to also select all class, and here we are not using this class, but we will very soon. So I'm going to just use linear gradient, and I'm going to provide blue and crimson. Okay, so if you save our file, nothing will happen, except here we are getting just all of these components right here. So now it's time Alright, so now we are totally done with these components. So now it's time to do a huge refactoring in all of these components, because currently our code is looking more than messy. Like, we have all of these components right here, but trust me, this is like totally a mess. We have to create a component, like separate component for buttons, and we are just reusing that input again and again. And we also have this color, we are reusing it here, we are reusing it right here. And our code is like totally a mess. So now let's just refactor all of our code. So before we getting into the refactor, first of all we have to ask ourselves a few questions, like where we are repeating all of our code. So now what I'll do is that I'm going to go inside this product section right here, and here we are reusing this component, not a component, but this JSX, like a lot of time, like more than a lot of time right here. Okay, so what do we have to do? First of all, I'm going to just select this one right here, and I'm going to just select it through this section right here. Okay, so I'm going to just select it and cut it. I'm going to just cut it, just right click on it and hit this cut button right here, or you can also use this shortcut, which is Control or Command X. I'm going to remove all of the rest of this content right here. So I'm going to just remove all of this content through this section right here. Okay, so now we successfully remove that content from here. So now the next thing which you have to do is that we have to go inside this component folder, and we have to find this card.js right here, and we have to just place all of our JSX which we copied right here. Okay, and this is also like really messy still. But now if you save our file, but instead of copying and pasting all of our JSX one by one, what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be getting this card, and we are going to be just rendering just this card. Okay, so I'm going to just save my file, and it will give us an error. That's because we didn't copy it and we didn't place this right here. So if you save that, and it will still give us error because we have to import that card from that card component card. So if you save that, and here you can see card is not defined. Where is that? Let me just refresh it, and here you can see it will now just gives us one card right here. So instead of copying and pasting all of these JSX, now we convert all of that coding into one component, and we can just reuse this component like how many times we want. So if you save that, and here you can see it will now gives us all of that items right here. So this is just a first refactor, but this is also not a great refactor, to be honest. We will come back here one more time. So let me just refresh it, and this is how it looks like right here. So this is just a first refactor for this card component. So we just already created this component, and we are just reusing that component again and again. So this was the first refactor. So now the next refactor which we are going to be doing is this input fields right here. So that's going to be totally simple. And here, let me just open this category right here. We are repeating all of our labels right here, and input like label and input and all of that kind of stuff right here. And we are also repeating it inside these colors. We are repeating it inside this price component as well. So what do we have to do? We have to come up here, and inside this input tag, what do we want to do? We are going to be just going into one of them, and I'm going to just copy this single label from there, and I'm going to just replace it with this div. Okay, so I'm going to just zoom in a bit so you guys can see it a bit better. And now I'm going to save my file. So here you can see we are just getting like what do we call it, sidebar, and we are just providing a sidebar. And by the way, this is not going to be the final refactor. We are going to be still refactoring this component, but I just kind of want to show you like the second way of refactoring or writing this code. Okay, so we are going to be still passing a lot of props, and we are going to be doing that once we jump into state management and all of that kind of good stuff. But for now, here you can see we just specify this input and this label right here inside this input container. So what we have to do, I'm going to just get my input container, but before I do, I'm going to remove all of these inputs from here and this input from here as well. Oh no, we are not going to be removing that, but here we are going to be just rendering our input container. Okay, so now let me just save my file, and here you can see we are just getting all, and we can just duplicate that like a few times, like we have 4 times or 5 times right here. And here you can see we are now just repeating all of our component one by one right here. Okay, so that's totally okay, but we will have to take care of their labels and stuff, but that's totally normal. So now let me just use that component, like that input component. So I'm going to just use input, and I'm going to close it, and it will not import it because there was 2 level up above. Okay, so input like so, and then we have to go to the components folder, and then we have to go inside this input. So if you save our file, let me just duplicate that. We will take care about that in a few seconds. So here you can see we are now reusing that component right here one more time, and now it's time to go inside the colors, and we have to remove this JSX from here. So I'm going to select it, save a byte to all of them, and I'm going to get my input container right here. Okay, so not like so, but let me just close that, save my file, and here you can see I messed up something because I removed the label, and I shouldn't have done that. So we have this input title. I'm going to leave this all from here. We didn't specify a color to it or label to it. Let me just specify some sort of a label to it so that we can differentiate between components. So sidebar, title, and then we have color title as well. So I'll just provide colors, save my file, and here you can see we have all of these colors. But now I'm going to just remove this label from here, and I'm going to just get my input from there, save my file, and we have different kind of inputs, and here you can see everything is now totally reusable. Anyways, so that was just a little bit improvement inside our code. So we just like really refactor our code like a little bit, but there is also going to be a huge refactor inside all of these input component and all of these button component and all of that card component. So we will have a huge refactor later, but for now I just kind of want to grab all of that code from one component, and so that we can reuse that component again and again. So now it's time to provide a little bit of functionality to our app, and then we are going to be then we are going to be refactoring all of our component to the final version of the refactoring. Okay, alright, so now it's time to provide functionality to our app. So here what I'll do is that I'm going to do a little bit of weird thing, which a lot of people won't like it, but I will do it anyways because I don't want to repeat myself again and again. So what I'll do is that I'm going to treat this app component as a store if you are coming from a Redux world. So which means like I'm going to be placing all of my state inside this app component, and then I'm going to be providing that state to these components by using a prop. So if you don't like this approach, totally a-okay, like you can go to each of these components and then you can create your separate state, and then you can change it there if you want to. But for me, I'm going to treat this app component as a store if you're coming from a Redux world. So the first thing which we have to do is that I'm going to just write, first of all, selected query right here, or not query but category. Okay, so then we are going to be just writing set selected category, and it will be now set to the use stat right here, and by default I'm going to be providing a null value to it. So I'm going to just provide a little bit of spacing in there, and now that's there. But now the next thing which you have to do is that we are going to be writing our input filter. First of all, we are going to be taking care of that input filter, then we are going to be jumping into the radio buttons. So what I will do is that I'm going to just create my query, and then I'll just use like set query, and it will be now equals to the use stat, and by default I'm going to be providing like totally empty value to it. And now what else do we have to do? I'm going to be creating a function which will be really useful for a lot of functions for a lot of things, to be precise. So I'm going to just write handle input change. So whenever this input changes, like whenever user passes some data into this component, into this search field, so what do you want to do? We want to get our event right here, like wherever the user type, and we are going to be passing it right here. So event, let me just write it, event, come on, event.target.value, there we go, target, there we go. So now we successfully create this one. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to get all of our data which we have inside this db folder right here. Okay, so we are going to be getting all of that data, and we are going to be iterating over through that data. All right, so the first thing which you have to do is that we have to import it. So I'll just write like a data base right here, and I'm going to just import my little database. So we have a data, or I'm going to give a name of like products. Okay, so products will be fine, and I'm going to go one level, and I'm going to go to my db folder, and then we have our data right here. You can give any name you want, but in my case we are storing a product, so that's why I give a name of products right here. You can give my data if you want to, but here we are going to be iterating over through all of these items which we currently have inside this array, and then we are going to be performing different kind of filtering on title, on what do we call it, on previous price, and also on a company, and also on a color, and on a category as well. Okay, so that's going to be awesome as well. So now the next thing which you have to do is that I'm going to just write fill third items. There we go, and it will be now equals to products dot items, not items but products dot filter, because filtered, there we go, because we are going to be iterating over through all of these items right here, each of these items. And what do we want to do with that? We are going to be just specifying over each product, and I'm going to just set that to like one liner, so that product dot title. In this case, we are just iterating over through all of these data right here, like all of these items right here, and we are just taking care of this title, like we are just getting this title from all of these items right here which we currently have. Okay, so we are just using that, and then let me just convert that to lowercase as well. So it doesn't matter if you provide like uppercase, so it will just by default convert it to lowercase. And now I'm going to just provide index of, and then here I'm going to be specifying my query, like whatever the user type, and I'm going to be also converting that to lowercase as well. And if that's not equal to -1, okay, so I just messed it up here. Let me just cut that from here. I'm going to paste it right here. So if that's not equal to -1, so we want to get all of that items, and we just store that inside this filter items right here. Okay, so now underneath that, so that's going to be it for the input filter. So I'll just specify different kind of separators right here. I'm going to copy that, I'm going to paste it right here. And now let's take care of the radio filters. So we have these radio filters right here. Okay, so now let me just filter all of the data. Once the user click on these each what do we call it, this each radio filter. Okay, so what do we have to do? First of all, I'm going to be just writing const handle change, and it will be now equals to event. And here what are we doing? We are going to be just setting the set category, selected category, which we are specifying right here. So we have selected category, and then we have a set selected category, and by default we are just specifying the null value to it. Okay, so I'll just execute them. And here what do you want to do? You are just specifying event.target.value right here. Okay, like whatever, like whichever kind of input the user selects, so you want to get the value from that each event right here, like whichever kind of what do we call it, custom radio selector user selects, so you want to get the value from that selector. Okay, so that's how we can get that, and we store that value inside this handle change event right here. So that's going to be awesome as well. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to create a filter for what do we call it, a buttons. So buttons, so once we click on each of these buttons, so what do you want to do? We want to provide a filter for that. Okay, so const handle, I'm just creating all of that functions right here, okay, which we are going to be passing into our components by using a props very quickly. So I'm going to just write set selected category. Once again, we are just selecting that selected category right here, and we are just changing that state, like when somebody clicks on it. So what do you want to do? You want to just get the value from there. So I'll just write like event.target.value. Okay, so that's simple. That was simple, like how to filter data. And this is also simple, like when somebody clicks on each of these items, so you want to filter through all of that data. Okay, so that's going to be totally fine. So now the final thing which you have to do, not a final thing, yeah, this is going to be the final function which you are going to be creating inside this app component. So I'll just write like function, and here this is going to be the main function where we are going to be doing all of our filtering. So I'll just write filtered data. So this is going to be the name of my function. And what are we getting? We are first of all getting all of the products, and then we are going to be providing a selected, like whichever kind of thing is currently selected. Are we selecting something inside this category, or inside this price, or inside this color, or we are clicking on something right here, or we are typing something inside this input field? Like what are we doing? That's why we provide this selected prop or perimeter or whatever you want to call it, and then we are specifying our query right here. Okay, so now let me just write like let filter data, I mean like filtered products. So filter products and it will be now equals to all of our products. Okay, so this is going to be it for our products. Now here, let me just write a comment for myself like filtering input items. Okay, so now let's just take care of that filtering item. So I'm going to just specify if we have some sort of a query, like if we selected something. So what do you want to do? We are just going to be selecting that filter data, not filter data, but this filter products. I'm going to just specify it right here, and it will be now equals to filter items. So filtered items right here. Okay, so which we are getting from these filter items. Let me just go back so you guys can see everything a bit better. So here, what we are doing, if we have some sort of a query, so we are going to be just setting this filter data, like all of the product, through this new array which we are getting from this filter items right here. Like we are iterating over through all of that item, and we are just specifying it right here, and this filter data, like all of our data, will be now set to that filter data if we specify something inside this input. So that's going to be happening. Okay, so this is going to be it for the filtering items, filtering input items. And then underneath that, then we are going to be also writing a selected filter as well. So let me just zoom in a bit so you guys can see everything a bit better. And now here what I'll do is that I'm going to just write selected. Okay, if something is selected, so where is that selected coming from? That selected is coming from right here. We are going to be executing this function, and we are going to be providing our, first of all, our products. Then we are going to be specifying like whichever kind of thing is selected. Are we selecting something from a category, or from a price, or from a color, or like which kind of selector do we have? So this is going to be selected filter, which we are going to be writing. So we already have our filtered products, which is right here, and it will be now equals to filter products one more time, and then we are going to be using our filter method right here. So we are going to be iterating over through this filter method right here. We can specify just a singular thing right here, but here what I will do is that I'm going to use my ES6 magic. So perimeter destructuring. So I'll just write category. We are going to be getting our category from this data right here. So we are going to be getting our category. We are going to be getting our color as well, like this color. From all of these items, we are going to be also getting our company. We are going to be also getting our new price, and we are going to be also getting our title. So now let me get all of that from all of this data right here. So what I'll do is we already selected our category. Let me just get my color, and let me just provide my company. There we go. COMPANY. Did I spell company correctly or no? Let me just put it right here, and that's awesome. Okay, so that's that. Now we are going to be also providing a new price to it, and then we are going to be also getting my title right here. So we have let me just show you. So we have this new price right here, and we also have this title right here. Anyway, so that's looking okay. Oh, we are writing this curly braces, like extra curly brace. We should not have done that. We are going to be writing our equal to sign. And now what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be just writing category, and it will be now equals to selected right here. Okay, and if you weren't doing this, instead we are going to be just doing is like we were doing like product dot I don't know, category, and it will be now equals to that selected. So we will have to do that, but now we already destructure our data right here, so we don't have to provide this product dot category, product dot title, product dot color, and stuff like that. So I'm going to just remove excuse me, so I'm going to just remove that product, and we are going to be writing, I don't know why we are getting this error, I'm not sure about that. Now we are going to be writing our code like this, like category is equal to triple equal to selected, and then we are going to be also checking the other stuff. But if we weren't writing this code, like if we weren't destructuring our items right here, so we would have to write first of all products to be precise, and then we are going to be selecting our category. Then we will write like products start color, and then products start company, products start new price, products start title. We don't have to do that. We are going to be just destructuring all of that. So I'm going to remove these products from here, and now we are going to be writing our or statement, and color will be now triple equal to selected. And now let me just write one more or statement. Then we have a company, and company will be also set to selected. And then we have a or statement, then we have a new price will be also set to selected. Let me just write one more statement of or, and title will be equals to selected. So now if you save our file, and I am still not getting all of that. I don't know why we are getting some sort of error or something. I guess we are getting some sort of error, but I'm not sure about. Let me just close it right here. Something was wrong in here, so I'm going to now finally paste this code right here, and now I'm gonna save my file. And yeah, that's going to be it for a selected filter. So now the final thing which we have to do is that we have to return something right here. So that's going to be it for this if statement and also for this selected filter. The final thing which you have to do is that we have to return this filter data, and we are going to be iterating over through that data. So we have this filtered products. I'm going to use a map method right here to iterate over through all of that items. And here what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be destructuring a few properties. So I'm going to just destructure that img, and by the way, we are destructuring all of their properties, and their properties are coming from all of these items. Like we are currently iterating over through all of these items, and we are getting the image, the title, the star reviews, and all of that kind of stuff. We are destructuring right here, and we are going to be reusing it right here inside this card component, and we will refactor all of this card component in a second. But for now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just destructure that stuff. So I'm going to just write image, title, star, and make sure the spelling is totally correct. I will also do my best to write the spelling correct. So I'll just write new price, and then we have a new, not new price, but yep, the new price. Yeah, the new price is totally okay. And then I'll go back from here, and I'm going to use my curly braces, but I don't know why we are getting this nasty error. And here we are going to be rendering our card component. So here you can see it will now just import it right here at the top of the file. So now it's time to provide all of these data into this card component as a prop, and then we are going to be reusing it inside this card component. So I'll just first of all start with the math.random, and I'm going to just close this component right here, and that's going to be fine. Okay, so here I'm going to just save this file so that I get that formatting. So that was it for the key. And do not write code like this, but in this case I'm not using any UUID and stuff, so I just write math.random. I'm going to just write image, and it will be now set to image. And now what else do we have to do? We are going to be also writing a title, and title will be also set to title. And I'm going to also provide a star, and it will be also set to star, the destructuring version of that star to be precise. And now let me just get these reviews, and finally we have our new price right here, and we are going to be also providing a new price to it. Now if we save our file, so what are we currently doing? First of all, let me just review all of that stuff which we are currently doing. Okay, so now here you can see we are just first of all getting like these two. Let me just cut that from here, and I'm going to place it right here like so. First of all, we are specifying this state into this useState hook right here. So we have selected category, and then we have set selected category, then we have a query and set query, and by default we are providing the default value of null and empty string right here. So then we are creating that function for the input filter right here. So like when somebody, okay, so new price is not defined. We do have this new price. Let me just come in here, and then we have pre-price. Now I'm going to set that to preview price, and now let me just check him out. New price is not defined. Let me just refresh my browser. Still not defined. Okay, so we are going to be copying it from here. I forgot to include it. Save my file, and now new price will be defined right here. Anyway, so that's a great story. But hey, here you can see, now if somebody types something in the input, we are going to be getting their value. Then here we are iterating over through every single character of that user, like whatever the user type inside this input box right here, we are iterating over through that, and we are just getting our filtered items. Then we have our radio filter, and we are just iterating over through all of these filters. Like if the user click on this one or in this one or in this one, we are just getting the value of them. And then we have this handle click, and which will be responsible for these buttons right here. And then finally we have this function right here, and inside there we are going to be just specifying 3 parameters. So we have this products parameter, then we have selected and query parameter, and we are going to be specifying the values in a just in a second. But here you can see we are just declaring a variable, and we are specifying it into the products, like whichever kind of products the user provide. And then what we are doing is that we are just providing that filter for our input item. And then inside there we have this filter products. So what is a filter products? Filter products are all of the products which we are specifying right here, and it will be now equals to filtered items. And then we are providing a filter for the selected items, like for these kind of buttons right here. We can just write this code without a destructuring, but I write this code with destructuring because I don't want to write like code like this, like product dot and stuff like that. Then we don't have to just write a product, so then we can just remove that and we can just write like product. If you wanted to, we can still write this code and that will be totally valid code, but I don't like this approach. I want to use destructuring, so that's why I destructure all of that code right here. Okay, so this might look a little bit confusing for some developer, but for me that's totally awesome. For me that's totally okay. And then finally we are just returning all of our filtered products right here. So now it's time to call this function. So we've created this function. I'm going to just call this function right here. So I'm going to just call this function right here, and I'm going to provide a few values to it. So I'm going to first of all providing a products, which is our database right here. So we are getting all of their products from this database right here. And now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to also provide this selected category, and we have this selected category right here. Okay, so like whichever kind of thing we selected, so we are going to be specifying it right here. And then finally we have our query, and we have this query right here for this stat right here. Okay, so now we successfully call this function. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to store in some sort of a result variable. You can give this variable like any name you want, but for me that's totally okay. So now let me just save my file. That was a lot of writing and that was a lot of explanation. So now the final thing which you have to do is that we have to provide all of that stat values, like these functions and all of that kind of data, into this each component right here, so that we can reuse all of that data inside this component. So for sidebar, what are we going to be passing? We are going to be passing this handle change right here. So where is that handle change? We are going to be specifying this handle change for this sidebar. So like whenever I click on this button or this button or this button, I don't care, like whichever kind of button the user click on, we want to select and we want to get that value, and we are specifying that inside this set selected category. So what we have to do, I'm going to just pass my handle change into handle change as a prop. So now what I will do is that I'm going to come inside this sidebar right here. Let me just go inside this sidebar and I can destructure that. So I'm going to just use my destructuring method right here, and we can log that into our console if you want to. So I'll just write handle change, and now let me just open my console right here, and now let me just refresh it, and here you can see we are now getting that function right here. So we have event.target.value. We can execute that function, but we are not going to. Okay, so I'm going to just remove that from here. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to pass this handle change from there. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to place it in both of these area as a prop. So I'll just pass it as a prop right here. Okay, so now if you save our file, so we have that function available inside this category, we have that function inside this price, and we also have that function inside this colors. So like let's suppose if I want to go to the colors, I mean like that price, and we can destructure it right here, and we can also console log it, save my file, and let's just refresh it, open my console right here, and here you can see we have that function available inside each of these components right here. So I'm going to just remove that from here. So now we have this function available in all of their components. So now the next thing which you have to do is that I'm going to remove that from here, and I'm going to remove it from, we are not going to be removing it from here, but now that you know that we are just passing that stat value, like whenever we change something, so we are just passing it inside the sidebar, and then we are also passing it inside each of these components right here. Okay, so now the next thing which you have to do is that we have to come to our input container right here, I mean like input component right here. So I'm going to just zoom in a bit, and here what I will do is that I'm going to specify a few items, like a few parameters. So I'll just provide like handle change first of all. So this is going to be the first case. I'm going to remove that. I'm going to provide this handle change right here. So the next parameter I'm going to be providing is the value, is like which kind of value we are going to be specifying inside this input container. Then after that, I'm going to be also providing the title, like which kind of title we are going to be using inside this component, and then the name and also the color. Okay, so a color, we are not going to be using it for that much reasons, but we will pass it right here. Okay, so we have this sidebar label container right here. The next thing which I will do is that I am going to use this handle change. I'm going to copy there, and now once we change something, so we are going to be calling this method like handle change right here, and we have the type of radio, that's completely fine. Now we have to what do we call it, control this component. So if you want to control this component, so we are going to be also passing this value to it. So I'm going to just pass this value right here. And now the final thing which you have to do is that we also have to copy this name from here, and I'm going to place it right here. So let me just place it right here as a name, and yeah, that's completely okay. But now the next thing which you have to do is that we also have to specify this color. So I'm going to just copy that, and I'm going to also provide a style to it. And then here what I will do is that I'm going to just provide a background color of this color right here. And now the final thing which you have to do is that we have to remove this all from here, and I'm going to copy this title from here, and I'm going to just paste it right here randomly. So if you save our file, let me just remove this space from here, save my file. And here you can see we are getting these things, but that's not working, and that's not cool, Hussein. So what do we have to do? We have to go inside, first of all, a sidebar right here, and then we have to go into the categories, and we are reusing these inputs right here. So the first thing which we have to do is that you know what, I am going to remove all of them from here, and I am going to just first of all write a label. And the first one we cannot change, so that's why we are going to be writing it manually. So sidebar label, you can check that in your spare time if you want to, but I don't want to check it right now. But we can change it, like I think of every possible way, but we can change it right now. But I'm going to change that to radio. So the first all, we have to specify that to like manually. So we have this handle change which we are getting from this as a prop right here. So we have access to their handle change, you already know that. And now what else do we have to do? We are going to be specifying the value of nothing, because we are going to be selecting everything, and the name will be now set to test. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to be also providing a span to it with the class of check mark, and now as a label I am going to provide all. Okay, so if we save our file and let's just refresh, so here you can see it will now gives us all right here. So now the next thing which you have to do is that we are going to be reusing our basic input. So I'll just write input right here, and now let me just close that, and here we have to specify all of our props. So I'm going to just provide like handle change, and I'm going to copy this handle change from here, and I'm going to just place it right here. Okay, so now the next thing which you have to do is that we have to provide a value for this input field. So we have a sneakers right here, and I'm going to also provide a title of sneakers as well. Underneath that I'm going to be also providing a name of like I don't know, man, test would be fine. And I'm going to just duplicate this component like 1 time, then 2 time, and 3 time. Okay, so we are not going to be changing this one. We are also not we will change this one, so we have to change that to from sneakers to flats, and also this one to flats as well. Okay, and test would be fine. So you will have to just change this value to just I don't know, sandal would be fine, and this one will be also sandals, and that's going to be fine. And then finally we have a hills, and we have a heels right here. Okay, so now if you save our file, and here you can see we are now getting sneakers and flats, sandals, and heels. So this component is now totally reusable, like we can reuse this component anywhere inside our program. Anyway, so that's done. Now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to go inside a price tag. So this price one right here, and first of all I am going to just get my handle change right here, and I am going to just remove this component from here. Okay, and I'm going to also copy you know, I just removed that right here, so I'm going to just copy this component, because we cannot do anything, we have to just specify it manually, value and stuff like that. So this one will be for all, we have a test and this one will be test 2, and we have everything we need, and that's cool. Anyway, so that's cool. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to just get our input tag right here, which we've been already using, but I just deleted that. But we are going to be first of all providing a handle change, and then we have our handle change right here. Then we have a value, and it will be now set to 50. Then we have a title, and as a title I'm going to just specify the string of like $0 to 50. Okay, so now finally I'm going to just provide a name of like test2 right here. Okay, so now I'm going to save my file. I'm going to duplicate that a few times, so let me just go back, and I'm going to just duplicate that to like, I don't know, 3 times. So 1 2 3, and I'm going to just change the value inside them. So it will be now set to 100, and this one will be now set to 50, 100, like so, and this one will be now set to 150. This one will be set to 100 and 150. Okay, so then finally we have a 200 right here, and then let me just remove that from here, and I'm going to just specify or $150. Okay, so if you save our file, and now here you can see it will now give us all of that labels right here and all of that products. Anyway, so that's going to be awesome as well. So that's working the way we expect him to work. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we also have to go to the colors as well. So I'm going to just go to the colors. So I'll go to the price one more time, and I'm going to copy that from here, and I'm going to just replace it right here. Okay, so underneath that I'm going to get my input, and let me just close it manually. Come on, like so, and we have to specify these values. So we have a handle change will be now set to handle change, and are we getting it or not? We are not, so we have to destructure it from the top. And now what we have to do, we have to just specify value of black, and the title will be also set to black, and then we have a name of test1. Okay, so this is going to be the test1, and then we have a color of totally black one more time. And now I'm going to duplicate them, I don't know, maybe 1 2 3 4 times maybe. So I'll just write 1 2 3 4. So I just duplicate that component 4 times right here. So this is a black color. I'm going to just replace that to blue color, and also this color to totally blue as well, and also the color will be set to blue. And I'm going to also change that to from a black to, what do we call it, red would be fine, but the title should be uppercase. And I'm going to select it one more time, and this one will be set to green, and this one will be also set to green. And I'm going to finally select it to I don't know, white would be fine. So I'll just select it to white. The title would be white, but we cannot see the title. And you know what, I just realized that the final one we also have to create it manually, so like we cannot do anything for this one as well. So we have a label with a class of sidebar, and then label and container as well. Okay, let's just remove the HTML from here, and I'm going to just specify what do we call it, our input area right here, and I'm going to just change the type to like radio, and on change will be now set to handle change. There we go. And now after that I'm going to also provide a type of radio. We already provided type of radio to it, didn't we? Yep, we did. The value will be now set to totally white, and also I'm going to provide a name of test1 as well. So now underneath this input area, what do we have to do? We have to write our span with the class of checkmark, and we also have to specify some sort of a styling into it, so like an inline styling. So I'll just write background will be now set to totally white, and I'm going to also provide a border of 2 pixels solid totally black. Okay, so now if you save our file, and here you can see we are now getting all of these colors right here. So if you click on it, and all of that colors right here, but we cannot see that white one. We can change the label of that if you want to, but you know what, I'm going to change that color to something else. Like I'm going to also provide a color of white to it, not white but black would be fine. So if you save that, and you know what, I'm going to remove that from here, and as a label, where is that span check mark, and then we have a white. Where is our white text? Did we just put a white text or something? Okay, we have to put it right here. So I'm gonna just place my white text, And now here you can see we are now getting it right there. I didn't know, like, okay, so now it's totally working. So we have white, green, blue, red, and all of that, but we also have to specify our all right here. So I'll just provide class name of all right here. Okay, so I'm gonna just provide all right here. So if you save that, and here you can see it will now use us that linear gradient right here. Why is that? That's because we already declared the styling inside this all inside this color.css file, and this is how we can specify, and this is how we can provide. Alrighty, so that was a huge refactor. So now the next thing which we have to do is that we have to take care of this card and render appropriate card, like based on the user selection or whichever kind of filter the user perform. Alright, so next thing which you have to do is that we have to pass appropriate data to each of these components. So what I will do is that I'm going to first of all pass my query into this navigation. So I'll just write query, and I'm going to also provide like handle input change. So I'm going to just copy that, and I'm going to place it right here. So the next thing which you have to do is that we also have to provide our handle change event right here into this component. So I'll just provide it as a prop. So we have handle change, there we go, and not a handle change, but handle click to be precise, not a handle change but handle click. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to place it right here as well. So the final thing which you have to do is that we are going to be passing all of our filter data into this products component, and then we are going to be iterating over through that component, and then we are going to be rendering each of these items right here, like the appropriate image, the title, and all of that kind of stuff. So here you can see we just have our results right here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to place it right here as a prop. But let me just show you like what is this result. So I've already write all of the code for it, but here what we are doing is that we are getting all of that data from that item, from their database which we have right here. So I'm going to just open there real quickly. So here you can see we have different kind of images, different kind of title, we have star, reviews, new price, previous price, new price, company, color, and all of that categories right here. So here we are just destructuring all of their data from each of that component, and we are passing all of their data to this card component as a prop. So here you can see we have image, we have title, and all of that kind of stuff right here. We are passing all of their data dynamically into my card component, so we will have access to all of their data dynamically inside my card component. So what I will do is that I'm going to just save my file right here, and now the next thing which you have to do is that I'm going to go into my products section right here, and I'm going to just remove all of this stuff from here. I'm going to remove that. The next thing which you have to do is that we already passed this result right here, so I'm going to just copy that, and I'm going to destructure it right here. So I'm going to just destructure that, and I'm going to just pass it right here. Okay, so if you just pass it right here, if you save our file, nothing will happen. So now the last thing which you have to do is that we have to go to this card component, and we have to just refactor the elements. So let me just show you that. I'm going to just remove that from here. I'm going to save my file, and now I'm going to go into my card component right here. So now here you can see we have like the same image right here, we have the same title, we have the same reviews, and all of their same, and all of their previous price, and all of their new price right. Like here you can see we have hard-coded data into all of these card component, and we don't want that. We want to render a dynamic content into these components, so like dynamic image and all of their title and rating and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to refactor this component from scratch. So now if you want to refactor this component, first of all, I'm going to go into my app component, and I'm going to just copy them like this destructuring. I can type it manually, but it will take a lot of my time. So I'm going to just place it right here. Okay, so we already destructure all of their data, which we are passing to this component as a prop. So here you can see we just destructure image and all of that kind of data. So the next thing which you have to do is that I'm going to leave this class and all of that alt right here. I'm going to just select my image, and I'm going to just remove them. And here what I will do is that I am going to just copy this img, and I'm going to just paste it right here. Okay, so now if I do that, and if I save my file, and let's just wait for it. So here you can see it will now just render all of their dynamic content right here, like all of their images right here. All right, that's cool. So the next thing which you have to do is that we also have to provide that title right here. So I'm going to just pass my title in here just for random data. And now the next thing which you have to do is that here I'm going to just remove this shoe and I'm going to replace it with my title. Okay, so now if you save our file, so here you can see we have this different kind of titles right here. And don't worry, I'm going to change the fonts and all of that kind of stuff just in a second, but I just kind of want to provide different kind of data into it dynamically. So next thing which you have to do is that I'm going to just remove that star from here, I mean like that icon, and I'm going to just replace it with star. Okay, so I'll just copy that 4 times. You can provide 3 or 2 times or whatever. So I'm going to just paste it 4 times. I'm going to save my file, and here we are getting this black color. What was that class I provided? I forgot the name of that class. Let me just go back. Okay, so it's this class. So I'm going to just copy that from one component. I'm going to delete it. Then I'm going to go into my data and I'm going to select my, okay, I'm going to just select that and I'm going to hit Control D and I'm going to select all of these items right here. So we already provide this style, but I don't know why it's not working. Class name of that. Let me just pass it manually. I guess I messed up something in it. Oh, I just write ratings instead of rating. I just provide S in here. So I'm going to just save my file and I'm going to save this file as well, but it will just remove these stars. You know what, I'm going to just render it dynamically. So I'll just write star, not start, but just star, and 4 times. You can provide 3 times if you want to, but for me 4 star would be totally fine. Okay, so we are totally getting there. The next thing which you have to do is that I am going to also provide reviews right here. So I'll just write like reviews in here, and then finally as a label, I'm going to remove this label from here. Or you know what, I'm going to just remove this label and I'm going to just pass my new, not new, but previous price, and here I am going to just render my new price right here. So if you save our file, and here you can see we have our previous price and we have a new price right here for each of these items right here. Okay, so we have all of this dynamic content right here. You can provide more than that if you want to, but for me that's totally okay. So here you can see we already pass our what do we call it, or filter functionality right here. If I just click on a sneakers, it will just give us sneakers. If I click on a flats, okay, we don't have flats. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my flats, this component. Where is the category? So I'm gonna just go into category very quickly, and instead of flats, I'm gonna just change that to flats, flats, I bet. And I'm going to change this one right here as well. So if you save our file, and now let me just refresh that, I'm gonna click on flats. It will give us flats, sandals, and I'm not pretty sure about, are these sandals, or I guess these are all sneakers, but I don't know. I just put a random data in here. I don't have any idea about all of these stuff. So heels, then we have all of the items right here one more time. Then we have from $0 to 50. Here you can see we are just getting the $50 items. Then we are getting $100 item. Then we are getting 150, and then finally we have $200 of items right here. So if you click on all of the colors, so here you can see it will just gives us all of the colors right here. If you just want a black color, so I'm going to just click on a black and it will now give us black color right here. If you just want to get a blue, we have red, we have green, and we also have a white color right here. Okay, so that's looking cool, but now I'm going to just click on all of the products. So that's not working. That's not working. We have to take care of that really quickly. So that's in this recommended component. So I'm going to just copy the name and I'm going to go into there. Did you saw like how much fast I came into this component? That's because you didn't take my Visual Studio Coder course. So you gotta go into that course and you have to take that course. Oh, and this is totally my guarantee that by the end of that Visual Studio Coder course, if you took that course, you are going to be calling yourself as a sonic coder. I don't want to go that much fast in the recording because a lot of people get confused like, Hossein, how did you get this fast into this component, and how did you write this code that much fast and all of that kind of stuff. So that's why I don't want to just go that much fast in my recording. So trust me, like when I'm working on my personal project, I just go like crazy. And if you're a programmer and you sit just with me, you're going to be calling me a crazy because I type like a you know what, that's another story. I'm going to just leave that. Anyways, I'm going to go into my app component right here, and here you can see we just pass this handle click right here. Like whenever somebody clicks on this component, so what do you want to do? Here you can see we have handle click right here. So we are just getting their data and then we are just filtering it right here. Okay, so you already know all of that stuff, but now let me just get there, which is handle click. But you know what, I'm going to just remove there. But first of all, let me just create a component, separate component for these buttons. They aren't looking that cool. We already built that component, but I forgot to refactor this component. We just write a button right here, so I'm going to just take care of that. I'm going to just provide a few what do you call it, I'm going to just pass a few values. Like I'll just pass these values like on click handler, and I'm going to also provide a value to it. It will take some sort of a value, and I'm going to also provide a title for this button. So what I'll do is that I'm going to just remove that, and I'm going to just replace it with this button right here. Okay, so now the next thing which you have to do is that I'm going to just write on click, like when somebody clicks on this button, we just want to fire this parameter right here, this parameter event right here, which we are passing. And the next thing which we have to do is that we also have to pass our value, which we are getting dynamically, and I'm going to also provide a value to it. Okay, and then I'm going to just give them some sort of a class name, like buttons would be fine. Okay, that's going to be totally fine. And I'm going to just pass the title finally, so I'll just write title, title. There we go. Now we create this component right here, so now let's just reuse that. Instead of these buttons, I'm going to use my own. So what I will do is that I'm going to remove that. You know what, I guess I'm going to leave that first one. I'm going to just leave them, and now let me just get my own buttons. So buttons, there we go. And now I'll just provide on click handler, which we are taking, and then we are going to be just passing our handle click event right here. And I'm going to also provide a value of Nike. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to close that, otherwise it will give us is there buttons or button? Okay, buttons. Anyways, I am going to just close it manually like so. But why it's giving us this nasty error once we have our mouse over it, identify unexpected, I'm going to close that. And yep, that's cool, but why it's giving us an error anytime I want to pass some sort of a value to it? So I'm going to pass some sort of a value like Nike. Now it's not giving us any error, and I'm going to also pass the title of Nike as well. Okay, so that's cool. So I'm going to just duplicate that for Adidas, Puma, and Vans, and I'm going to just remove this title. I'm going to select that, hit Ctrl D, and add IDS, there we go. And I'm going to just select Nike, hit Ctrl D, set that to Puma, and then we have Nike one more time. I'm going to change that to Vans. Anyways, that's cool. And for this button, we cannot do anything with it. You know what, I'm going to also duplicate. Let me just remove this one from here, and I'm going to duplicate this one. So instead of a value, I'm going to just remove this value right here, and I'm going to just pass empty value, like empty string, and I'm going to also pass my all products as a label. So now I'm going to save my file, and now let me just refresh that. We are not getting any kind of error. Now I'm going to click on Nike, and then I'm going to click on products, and now it's working. Alright, so now we are successfully done with all of our project, but we just have to provide a little bit of styling for this typography and stuff. Anyway, so I'm going to click on all of the product, then sneakers, flats, sandals, heels. Click on all of the product, then we have 0, 50, and 100, and over 100, and then we have all of the colors. Then we have black color, blue color, red color, green color, and white. Black color, blue color, red color, green color, and white color. Okay, everything is working. I'm going to click on all of the products. Then we have a Nike, Adidas, Puma, Vans. I'm going to click on all of the products one more time, and let's suppose if I want to get this one like Nike Zoom Freak, so I'm going to just paste the name of him like Nike. It will give us all of the product of the Nike, and then we have Zoom. Alrighty. So this one is not working, and I don't know why. You won't believe me, this error took me a lot of time to figure out like where in the world is I'm doing something wrong. Here you can see I just write this expression right here. I'm going to cut that from here, and I'm going to just place it right here. So I'm going to save my file finally. And now let me just search for something like Nike Zoom Freak. If I just write Nike right here, so it will give us all of the Nike products. I am going to just search for a Zoom. It will now just give us Nike Zoom Freak. And let's suppose if I want to get this one, like let me just copy all of the name, and I'm going to just place it right here. So it will now give us this item right here. So this bug took me a lot of time. You know what, so finally what I'll do is that I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to select all of that stuff, and I'm going to provide font family of sans serif to it. And let me just refresh that, and why it's not taking all of that? So we have access to this index.css right here. I bet we didn't use that in here, so that's why we are not getting all of that stuff. Let me just use import, and then we have provide index.css. So now if we save our file, and here you can see everything is working the way we expect them to work, and everything is looking a-okay. So finally, let me just test this for a final time, and then we are going to be done for this project. And if you are watching this video in my React course, so then we are going to be done with our React course. Anyways, I'm going to just click on all of the products. It will give us all of the products. If you click on the sneakers, and then we have flats, sandals, heels, I'm going to click on a 0, 50, 100, and over 100. I'm going to click on this one, but I just figured out one more bug, and that is occurring right here. So we have to go into a sidebar, then we have to go to the category. So here what we are doing is that we are just providing a test right here, and test for all of them. That's cool. I'm going to go into the price, and here we are just specifying test 2 right here. That's also cool. But now I'm going to go into the colors, and we are specifying test 2 right here. So I'm going to just select that, hit Ctrl D, and you know what, I'm going to just specify test 3 right here. I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to just select my test 1 and all of them, and here I'm going to just specify test 3 if you save our file. And now let me just check that. I'm going to click on this one, click on this product, and now that's totally working. So if I want to just get like blue, I'm gonna get blue, then red, then green, then white. Okay, so that's also working. Let's suppose if I want to just get this product, so I'm gonna just copy that, and I'm gonna just place it right here. So here you can see it will now gives us just this one product right here, and I'm gonna just click on the sneakers and stuff, and I'm going to just click on